Yeah, so I want the students to be able to understand, like, what does the Kaplan Center do? What type of services are available? It's COVID, so generally I would be like, oh, let's take a tour or something like that. But I figured it was great talk to you directly and kind of, what your role is. Because a lot of these students, they have really good ideas, and it's like, you're here, you have these resources, take advantage of this resource. Because the previous day we talked to a venture capitalist, and so he talked about, being a VC, what does it mean, how to attract VCs and stuff like that. And Snow is like, okay, we understand what VCs are. What resources do we have here at the institution to help you realize your dream?
Which VC did you talk to?
So it's an organization out of New York. It's an individual I used to work with years ago at a defense company.
Yeah.
And so let me pull him up, and I can tell you the exact VC. All right, so the VC he works with is Sutton Capital.
Okay, I don't know them.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So before I jump in and tell you all about the Kaplan Institute, I would love to hear from you. And are you all working on startups today? So can we just do a round robin and you tell me what your name is, what do you study, and do you have a startup? And if so, like what stage are you in? Or do you even have a business idea? So Rafael, can we start with you? Hola.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I'm trying to search for a good place for the mobile, so the camera is fine. So, so I am here. I am a Spaniard that I am studying the ITM, the Information Technology and Management, with the entrepreneurship specialization here in the IIT. And in Spain, back in Spain, I had an startup with some friends that was about around 7 years ago, when the 3D printers wasn't so popular, and we tried to create a startup to bring to rent 3D printers to schools so they can use them for academic purpose. However, now I want to, that idea was really old, and now there are some platforms. And now I want to learn the basic of entrepreneurship and maybe develop another idea in the future. But for this moment, I don't have any idea, or not an idea that is very, very viable.
You have an idea that is variable?
No. For this moment, no, not yet. I have some, but there are some.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll mention some stuff about 3D printers when I talk about our intro. Andrea, do you want to go next?
Okay. Well, my name is Andrea, and I'm studying like the same master and specialization as Rafael, and I don't have any idea at all. I don't know. I would like to know like how to start when I have like an idea or something, and how how this work goes, and how, I don't know, to be success, and
how to be successful, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about like startups versus industry, or kind of having a regular job versus startups? Like, is there?
No, not really. I haven't thought about it, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. So Gonzalo and Aranza, do you want to take turns?
Okay. So hi, my name is Gonzalo. I'm studying the same masters than Andrea and Rafael.
And me.
And Aranza. I don't have any startup yet, but I'm really interested in the fintech business.
In fintech, you said?
Fintech, yes.
Okay, got it. What aspects of fintech are particularly interesting?
So I'm doing a project about digitize the receipts. So when you pay something in the grocery, you got the receipt on your phone. So
got it. Okay.
She's Aranza. Well,
I really
I'm
don't like
studying.
the camera. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Well, I'm studying the same theme as all of them. And I would like to say that I have an idea or that I'm interested in something in particular, but I have to be honest and I have no idea what I want to do or what I'm like good at. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
Cool. I'm going to talk about that as well. So, all right. Rui Kang, am I saying your name correctly?
It's actually Recon.
Recon?
Yeah, I'm studying information technology and management. Actually, I haven't decided my final idea, but it's probably like a tour product.
A tour product?
Yeah.
Like to give people tours?
Yeah.
And then a software product or like a, some, is that what I saw? Like, what do you mean by a tour product?
I mean, I will use a software, but it's a tour product.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you. And then we have Chen Zhaoui.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. My name is Xiaoyi Chen, and I with the Recon, who is we are together, is do the teamwork. So our product is the such as the Amazon shopping market, yeah, in the Liberia, and we want to share the product in the shopping market in the website. Yeah, because the Liberia is so poor, so they want some product. So we want to sell the product in the website. This is our ideas.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. And I think the lady who was there at the very beginning, Mo, is no longer here, but
Ayobami, but there is a guest here.
Okay.
With the guest using the phone, would you like to speak and identify yourself?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, that's very strange.
Yeah, so we will push ahead. We'll push forward.
Okay, all right. So so thank you for sharing a little bit about yourselves. It actually helps me tailor the introduction to something that might be relevant to you. And I'd love for you to ask questions along the way. And as you're taking your class, if there's opportunities for you to work with us here at the Kaplan Institute, you should come. We're always open. So I'm actually in the office right now. So it's a pretty building. You're welcome to come whenever you want. Most of our entrepreneurship related activities happen on Fridays. So we have something called the Startup Studio that is meant for the community. It's every Friday at 12:50. And if you're entrepreneurial or if you're entrepreneurially curious, so many of you might not have your own ideas, but you're interested in startups, you can come at 12:50 and meet other students who actually want to start companies. And they're there to help each other out. So oftentimes they just sit in a room and they talk about their business ideas and help each other. Sometimes we bring speakers in. So the speakers could include investors like the one you spoke to last week. They could also, we could bring in a lot of CEOs. And so, for example, we have, Rafael, you mentioned that you like, you used to have a company around 3D printers. Well, we have a company at the tech park that's really close to here. So we have an incubator where larger companies who need research space or wet labs can sit. And so there's a company there called Dimension Inks, and they make a new kind of ink for 3D printers that could be used to make teeth or other biological tissue. I think they have a vision to make organs with it, but they're not quite there yet. So right now they're just making sort of biological matrices that could be used to replace tissue, organic tissue. So they're pretty amazing, and it's led by a woman who's called Carolyn Nowinski, and has done a lot of work in advanced manufacturing and life sciences in the region. So, so that would be the type of speaker that we would bring in. So I definitely recommend that you try and come to those events if you can. What the Kaplan Institute is basically the entrepreneurship and innovation hub for the university. And the biggest program that we run is called the Interprofessional Projects Program, or short is IPRO. And we run 23 courses every semester that qualify as iPros. So that means that 500 students take classes out of the Kaplan Institute every semester. So it's a major undertaking. And with 23 classes, there's lots of different types of courses that we have in here. So in the last year, we kind of categorized the courses. So one set of courses falls under entrepreneurship. So in the fall, we have a customer discovery class where students who don't have ideas can come to that class and really explore ideas and explore the market value for their ideas, to the point where they've really discovered a customer, like someone who's willing to pay for the idea that they have, right? And if they succeed at finding those customers and having a bit of a concept, then they can apply to our Startup Accelerator, which is a program that we run in the spring, so right now. So today we have 12 startups that are participating in our Startup Accelerator, and they all applied to get in. And so this is another iPro. It's open to graduate students and it's open to undergraduate students. So the undergraduates take iPros. The graduate students take a business class right now. We also have design students in the class, and they basically sign up as an independent study and take the class, because as you can imagine, like a lot of people want to start companies here. So we found a way to make the class available to whoever wants to start a company. So I think another UPM student is in the class today. His name is Julio Pagano. So if you know him, you might want to ask him about it. But anyway, it's right now there's 12 startups, and of the 12 startups, there are they all have to have at least 3 co-founders. And the only requirement is that at least one of them is connected to the institution. So you can have 2 other co-founders that are, working in industry or, not connected to the institution. Totally fine, as long as there's one person enrolled at IIT. So that's the class. And it's in terms of entrepreneurship, those are the 2 main courses. In addition to those, we have one that specializes in product development, and it's led by a gentleman from Microsoft who really kind of is on the cloud-based services area. So his class is called Global Product Development, and students who really want to focus and really think about software development can take that class. And this gentleman from Microsoft also comes and gives a guest lecture in our Startup Accelerator, so that the students who actually haven't taken the full class also get like a little bit of exposure to product design, software product design through that lecture. So he's giving his lecture on Friday. So tomorrow he'll be talking to our students in the class. We also organize field trips. So again, as part of this entrepreneurship class, we also have physical product teams. For example, we have one startup that's building a toy called Picogram. And it's kind of, are you all familiar with origami? Yeah. So the toy is like magnetic pieces that you could play with and turn them into like different origami looking figurines. And it's meant to kind of sit on your desk. And so that's one example of a physical product. And there is an accelerator, an incubator in the city called M-Hub. And tomorrow, the physical product teams are taking a field trip to MHub to learn about manufacturing a physical product. And so the incubator has a really big space, and it has lots and lots of manufacturing equipment, and has lots of relationships with contract manufacturers. So by going there, the students can take their prototype and really get some advice on how they can build something that can be manufactured, small batches, because when you're a startup, you can't produce, you can't produce 1,000 pieces because you don't need that many. You probably want to produce like 100 pieces at the beginning. So they learn a little bit about that process and how much money they need to really get that batch of prototypes produced. So those are just some examples of the types of activities that you would do in the classes that we run here. So I think that gives you a good feel for entrepreneurship. The one piece that I didn't talk about is the legal aspects of entrepreneurship. So Illinois Tech has a law school as well, and we wanted to take advantage of that. So we have a connection to Kent. That's the name of the law school. And the students, there's a class where the students can learn about all legal aspects of entrepreneurship. And again, we had a guest lecturer come and give a class, give one lecture in our startup accelerator as well, so that the students could learn how to incorporate their startup in the US. For example, we have one company, Quickie Carts, that is based in Nigeria. And they're thinking about incorporating in the US and operating in the US. So they had to figure out, well, how do they get their business signed up so that they can operate here? One of the types of questions that we had. There's also interesting questions for you around immigration law, right? So if you want to start a company in the US and you're a Spanish citizen or a citizen of some other country, how can you stay here and start a company? So we had an immigration lawyer come and talk about that. So those are different. There's also like other legal aspects in entrepreneurship could include intellectual property rights, right? So if you build a technology, should you protect it in some way before you start talking about it to everybody? And so, we'll have someone come and talk about that as well. There's lots and lots of legal issues. There's lots of issues around contract law. So when you're selling something to a big company, you're negotiating a contract, and there's a lot to learn about that process as well. And the list really kind of goes on and on. In terms of law, as you really need to have some basic understanding of law to operate as a startup. So it's nice that we have that partnership. And I think that wraps it up for the courses related to entrepreneurship. I'm not going to tell you about the other programs because they're not as related to things that you probably care about right now, considering that you're taking an entrepreneurship class. But I'll give you a feel. I'll give you the general categories. So we also have a community and industry innovation track where we bring in big corporate partners. So like, have you all heard of Wilson Sporting Goods? Wilson, so the tennis racket, so they have significant presence in Chicago, and they come in and they share a challenge that they have with their students, and our students spend several months working with them to address that challenge, and they get feedback from the partner, and ultimately, if there's a good idea, the students could be recruited to work on that idea. So we work very closely with the research and development team at Wilson. So, they're always looking for talent. So it's a nice relationship. And then we have a vertical around sports. We have an industry vertical around healthcare. We have another vertical around smart cities, and one around community. The one about community is a little bit, community is our word to talk about working with small businesses in our area. So we live in Bronzeville. So the school is situated in Bronzeville. And, our school wants to be more involved in supporting the local community. So what we've done is we went and we reached out to small business partners like small restaurant, let's say. So one of our partners last semester was an ice cream shop called Sean Michelle's Ice Cream. And they came and they worked with us, and they shared a challenge that they had with their business. And then our students basically helped them address that challenge and help them, think through how they might build a new revenue stream or tech enable their business so they could sell online. So that's the type of stuff that we do. So that's one track. There's another track around introducing our students to research, and specifically research that has commercial potential. So we bring in faculty members who have a research agenda that has some kind of market impact. So I'll get a really simple example is in the life sciences. So cancer diagnostics, right? So if you build a good diagnostic, it will have value in the market, but the bulk of the work that has to be done from a commercial standpoint is in validating the sensitivity and specificity of the diagnostic. So it's the type of work that you do in the lab, not the type of work that you do in the business world, right? And so that's a type of projects and research that we like to have in what we call a deep tech track. So then we have a final program area that we call national competitions. And that's where, there are these big, organizations like the Society for Automotive Engineers that put together a national competition where students from different universities get together and build an electric vehicle. And then they have their electric vehicle compete in a race at the end of the year. So we have a number of these competitions, and they're considered iPros as well. And so students can sign up for this, and they work in teams of sometimes 30 students. So it's literally 30 students working together, and they're actually building a vehicle. And then they take it to this competition in New Hampshire and compete with other universities. So that's really like it's a lot of programs, and these programs are courses, but they all have an extracurricular component, right? So like I mentioned the field trips. There's often we run our own competitions. So with our startup Accelerator, we have a business plan competition on April 22nd. And so the top 5 teams, so we have 12 startups participating in the Accelerator. The top 5 will compete in the business plan competition. And if they win, they will receive up to $50,000 in funding. So it's pretty nice, and the idea is that they can use those funds to really advance their business. And so that's basically the Kaplan Institute in a nutshell. Do you have any questions for me about any of that? No. How could I be most helpful to you? As you're taking your classes, and thinking about your startups, how can I help you?
Do you have a website of that? There's just too much information.
Yeah. So it's a lot, right? And I'd say I mentioned the other programs, but the only one that I think if you're taking an entrepreneurship class, the only thing that you really the Accelerator and the Startup Studio is what you really should know about. And I started with that, right? So we have the business plan competition on April 22nd. So you should come to that. On Fridays at 12:50, if you come here, you'll have lunch, and you'll meet entrepreneurs, student entrepreneurs, and then more established entrepreneurs, investors. So I think that would also be interesting for you. So Gonzalo, you mentioned, I don't know if he's still there, but he mentioned fintech as his area of interest. Well, on April 8th, we have an IIT alum who's coming to give a talk on that Friday at 12:50. And
which day? Sorry, I'm gonna tell him he's home.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
So so he didn't want to sit next to you, like. So April 8th. So it's on April 8th, and it's at 12:50. And the name of the entrepreneur, he's an IIT alum. His name is Biju Kulatakal, and he's CEO of Halo Investing. So it's a fintech company. And I think like a couple of months ago, he raised like a lot of money. You know, he's like 100 million. So his startup is officially very well funded. And he's based in Chicago, and he's like democratizing investing, you know. So right now, investing is usually something that really rich people can do, but most other people don't really dabble in investing. You know, they might spend money buying homes, and that's basically the extent to which the middle class really invest. And it's mostly kind of very, very rich people that, you know, have the funds and the means and the knowledge to invest in the public markets, you know. So he's trying to change that. He's trying to make it a little easier for everyone to invest, you know. So I think you'll find, and I guess he raised a lot of money. So you know, I think he's quite successful. So maybe someone like, for someone who really is interested in fintech, that would be a good one to come and see. And he's an IIT alum. All right. Yeah, I think that's I would say if you guys are interested in entrepreneurship, those are the two. Also, if you start building your own company, so if you have your own startup idea, if you come to the startup studio and let somebody know that you're thinking about a startup, then one of my staff members, Sunny Shah, would be able to pair you up with a coach. So someone who can help you think through your idea and really advance it. So your coach could be, it could be me, it could be a faculty member at IIT, it could be someone from industry, it could be an entrepreneur that we pull in. It really depends on your business idea. So we try to find you a coach that has the right experience for your business idea. So you just talk to us, tell us what you're working on, and then we'll find you the right coach. And then the idea is that you work with this coach until you get to a point where you have a decent idea, and you validated your idea, and then we can actually start working with you. So you can sign up for a class, and we can help you really build a business model around your idea. So I think that's a pretty, you know, rather than rather than looking at everything that's on our website, I would say like just come on Fridays at 12:50. Look out for our mailings. So we send mailings out to the campus, to the entire campus. So you should see some information coming your way about the Kaplan Institute and what we're doing. Unfortunately, our website is a little outdated, and we're working with our centralized marketing and communications team to update it right now, but it won't really go into effect for another few months. So it's not, unfortunately, you're not going to find a lot of stuff there. So I apologize, but you can email me if you ever need anything. You can email me, and I'll share anything with you. You know, just let me know. I have a deck. You know, I have a deck that I can share with you.
So Maryam, I have a few questions. So are the Fridays lectures or talks, are they recorded?
Not today.
Is there a plan to? Because like, you know, the students may miss a talk or two, and you know, there is valuable information. Like when I was able to interview Ed Bellis, I couldn't imagine if it wasn't recorded, because there's a lot of stuff that he said. So if I was thinking about starting my own business with a cybersecurity product, and I was like, well, I'm curious how this guy did it. And there was a talk and he had everything recorded. Well, it wasn't recorded, then I would lose out on lots of valuable information. So I'm curious if maybe that's something in the future that would change to, you know, further pass on to interested parties.
Yeah, we're trying to record. So the Ed Bellis event was recorded.
Yes.
And we should make it available on our website, you know, when we finally revamp it. Yeah, I think we should. So the 12:50 events, it really depends on whether the videographer is available or not. But good point. Like maybe I'll just insist on him coming and recording the events.
Yeah, or even at best case scenario, just streaming it. Like you can stream it like YouTube Live or Facebook Live. Then it's going to automatically be recorded. And from there, you can just download the MP4 and you're good.
Idea.
The other item is, what companies have actually launched from Illinois Tech?
So I mean, I've only been around for a year and a half. So last year we had three sorry, my lights just turned off. Sorry. So yeah, we had 3 winners from our business plan competition. So I can tell you about the companies that that were founded through those efforts. Before me, there was one guy who was running the Kaplan Institute for 9 months. And before that, the Kaplan Institute didn't exist. So there are a few companies that launched here, but we didn't really have a center for entrepreneurship. So if you look back, many alums from IIT have started companies, but very few of them started them when they were at IIT, right? So you know, we have we have Ed Kaplan, who funded this institute. So he was the founder of Zebra Technologies, but he graduated in the 60s. And we have Razak Gorav, who I think was here like maybe 30 years ago. And he's a serial growth stage entrepreneur. So he joins companies when they're ready for growth, and he's very successful. So his last exit was a company called Liamasoft, which was sold to Coupa software. So it was a supply chain management software. So he's extremely successful, and now he's working on a workplace productivity software company called PlanoView. So that, you know, there's definitely quite a few alums that have made it. Biju Kulatakal is also another one, and the list goes on and on. You know, I've met many IIT alums who are now successful entrepreneurs, but again, few who actually launched them when they were here. There is a from last year, the winning company is building an urban farm. So their farm is called Ayers Farms, and they're still around, and they're still building their company. And they're producing microgreens, which is you know, kind of greens that many restaurants are looking for right now, and they don't travel well. So you really have to grow them locally and distribute them quickly for them to work. So there's a real demand for microgreens, especially in places where there are 4 seasons and you can't grow outside all the time. So there's a need for technology to basically support indoor farming in places where there are 4 seasons. And so this company is trying to crack that nut and figure out how they can grow a decent amount of microgreens in a place like Chicago, so they could feed the local demand for this particular type of crop. So they're still around. There was another company called Coliseum, and they were basically working on, do you know them, Andrea? Oh, you're on mute.
I don't know them. Yeah.
Yeah, so Coliseum is with a K, and there were 2 guys who were really into video gaming, and they developed a mechanism or a business that supported you know, kind of betting on you know, on gamers who are not professional. So they had there's some really famous people. I'm sorry, there's some non-famous people. So some apprentice, like gamers that are really good, but they're kind of up and comers. And so they developed a business model around those particular types of players. And they're still around. Yeah, I think those are the two big ones that continued. And this year we have, I'm pretty sure that at least 5 of the 12 will keep going. I feel pretty confident because many of them are in it to win.
And then the last question, which I think will be important to the students as well, is you have your product, you visit the M Hub or manufacturing hub. Now you need somebody to invest in you. So do you connect people with VCs or angel investors? Is that a function of the institute as well?
Yeah, so you have to be ready for those conversations. So we have a team, we call them their student team. So everything we do, like all our staff, like half of our staff are students, right? So we have a student team, they're called the Genesis team. And they're mostly grad students, but there's some undergrads as well. And they meet with our startups and review their decks and get them ready for investing. And they're building a network of investors. And so, when the timing is right, they bring those investors in and help them sort of talk to the students about their business ideas. So, so we definitely have that as a resource.
All right, thanks for that answer.
Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry, it's so dark in here. I have to, the button to turn my lights on is like.
Our actual classroom is the same way. So if no one's
really?
moving, it's dark. Happens quite a bit. So anybody, any questions before we stop the discussion?
I have a question, and
Sure.
we are teamwork or is individual work?
Can you say that again, please?
I say, I mean, it's a teamwork or individual, just individual work.
Oh, it's teamwork. It's teamwork.
Okay. So everyone will take an initial idea. Yeah.
Oh, so whose idea do they take?
Yeah.
So the way it works today is the students who have ideas, we told, like in the fall, we said you have to have a minimum of 3 team members. And then we had events where they could come here and find their teammates. So we gave them opportunities to find teammates. And when they applied for the program, they had to apply as a team. So all the startups came in as a team. And then in addition to that, there was an MBA program that is cross-listed with the iPro. And so MBA students were allowed to come in without a team, but they're not allowed to compete on their own. So they were matched with the existing startups. So the startup grew a little bit and has some additional team members now. So that's kind of how it's set up. So that it is a team-based effort. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right.
Well, one quick thing is we are going to M Hub tomorrow. So if you have an interest in visiting the manufacturing hub, you're welcome to come. You just need to let me know. But it's from 2:30 to 4:30. So if you want to send me an email, we have a shuttle that's leaving from here, but you could also meet us there. So you're welcome to come if you want to check it out.
So Maryam, I would like to say many thanks for talking to my class, and we will try to take a tour of the facility in the coming weeks.
Please do. Good luck with everything.